Hey, I might lose some brownie points with some of y'all for this one, but I don't really care. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and today, back with another sneaker pickup for y'all. Now, this one right here is not something that's like just released or is particularly hyped up or anything like that. It's a sneaker that means something to me. Probably not gonna mean as much to y'all because there's a certain stigma around this type of sneaker, and I just don't think it's gonna be something that as many of y'all is excited for as I am. But I like them, I cop them, and I wanted to make a video talking about them anyway. So here I am. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Inside this box, I have a shoe that I didn't even hear about releasing. They just randomly showed up on my timeline with a link from SoulLink saying that these were in stock on a specific website. And I want to say that they retailed for about $135. And I wanted a pair, but I knew I really don't need these, man. So I'm just like, I passed on them. I was like, no one's gonna care about this shoe anyway. They're not gonna sell it anytime soon. I'll go ahead and leave those in the back of my mind, and I'll pick them up, you know, a little bit later down the line. They'll probably go on sale or something like that. That being said, I might have been perusing the internet a little bit, wandering around different marketplaces or whatnot. Might have came across a pair. Might have put in a super low ball bid of $60 that, much to my surprise, immediately got accepted. And well, when you talk about over half off, I fear that's a deal that's just too good for me to pass up. So in this box we have, nice and wrapped, go ahead and get that out the way and be gone. Oh, this box is very nice. I don't think too many of y'all recognize this box, do you? But this is dope. This is the first of its kind that I've seen like this. I don't know if this is what this style of shoe has been coming in, or if this is new for these, or what the case is, but this is nice. This is nice. Any guesses? Anybody by chance have any idea what could potentially be in here? Also, let me go ahead and adjust the camera just a tiny little bit. I feel like we're looking a little low. Did that do anything at all? I don't know. Anyway, in this box, we have a sneaker that is black, varsity maize, and white. Now, if you know me, if you've been around for a minute, if you've seen me ever talk about my shoes or any of my old pictures, this probably isn't a surprise to you. But in this box, we have the Air Jordan 1 Mid SE in the black, varsity maize, and white. Now, I know a lot of people are not the biggest fans of mids, okay? And truth be told, I'm not a big Jordan 1 mid guy myself, if I could get the camera to go ahead and focus there. But you see Air Jordan 1 Mid SE, black, varsity maize, and white. I don't own a lot of Jordan mids. In fact, I only own one pair, and that pair is from 2007, and they retroed again in 2017. I never got around to picking up a fresh pair because I didn't quite need it yet. But here we are in the year 2025, and it's back. Let's just go ahead and open this bad boy up. Inside here we have the new love Jordan 1, man. I don't think too many people are gonna care about this sneaker. You know what I'm saying? I don't think as many people care about it as I do, but I do, which is why I'm here talking to you about it. Let me just go ahead and pull that bad boy out. Okay, I'm already noticing some differences off the rip about this compared to my previous pair. Let's go ahead and get these bad boys out here. Do these come with any extra laces by chance? They do. Okay, we do got a lace box here in the right shoe. Let me go ahead, close this up, and let's talk about these, man. Actually, real quick, before we do talk about them, I do just kind of want to get a closer look at this box. You see you got your Wings logo on this side, as well as this side with the size label. Bottom got your usual standard information. But this box top is just really dope. You have what looks to be, it's Jordan. I'm trying to figure out like what area it is. I don't really see no hair up top, so this got to be at some point in the 90s, but it's got a Jordan 1 drawing there. That might have been from Peter Moore. I'm not entirely certain, but it is a really dope box. Very different from what your standard Jordan 1 High Retro OG comes in, but I think it's worth appreciating. That being said, y'all here for the shoes. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just here for me. But either way, let's get into it. So this right here is a sneaker that I've always loved and has always been my personal favorite Jordan 1 mid. Again, I know people have the stigma about mids, and I get it. A lot of mids are whack. The quality don't be good. The colorways is like mad lame. I get it. Trust me, I definitely do. But I always made an exception for these right here. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the details as we talk about the shoes. You can see, starting from the bottom, we have this translucent yellow outsole. I know it kind of looks like an icy sole that's been yellow, but this one is more of like a almost like a gum rubber, almost like a translucent gum, so to speak, but it is more yellow than anything else. You got your white rubber midsole, of course. Then all throughout the upper, you have this yellow leather as well as this black nubuck or durabuck that's pretty dark, and I like that quite a lot. It's like a nice jet black. It definitely looks a lot better than my old pair, which I'll show you guys here in a moment. But as you can see here at the heel, you have your hits of yellow leather, as well as here again on the swoosh and the ankle. And something that's pretty special about these is that you get that jewel Air Jordan Wings logo. And then moving up to the ankle again, you see that black nubuck throughout the mid, as well as here in the vamp and around the toe box, yellow leather again. They come with black laces. They're not obviously laced up, but they do come standard with black laces. However, they also come with a pair of yellow laces, if I can pull them out here from the other shoe, which personally, I think they look good either way. I might swap in the yellow laces. That's just me though. But yeah, the new love Jordan 1s. These haven't been advertised. This wasn't like a drop that was like hyped up or talked about at all. They kind of just like dropped out of nowhere. Like I said, for a retail price of I think $135. But like I said, most people hate on mids, including these, so they don't really get the respect and the love that they deserve. But speaking of the word love, these originally released in the old love new love pack alongside a shoe that looked a little something like this. Bang. Now these are not the old loves, but back in the day in 2007, right, there was a pack that released called the Old Love New Love pack, and that pack was a Jordan 1 pack that featured two Jordan 1 mids, the New Loves and the Black Toes. Now the Black Toes that released in that pack were, like I said, a mid cut that had a black tongue, similar to the recently released Black Toes that dropped with the black tongue, and then it says Air Jordan here instead of the Wings logo. The Old Love pair actually had the Wings logo just like this pair does, but this is the 2016 retro of the Black Toe Jordan 1, which I think is severely underrated. Truth be told, people don't put as much respect on these as some of the other colorways of the Jordan 1, but I've always thought that these were super, super dope. I remember reselling a lot of the 2013 pairs back in the day. I'd buy them up locally for super cheap and flip those online. But yeah, those released together. The Old Love obviously showcasing Michael Jordan's love for basketball and you know, the black, white, and red for the Bulls and everything like that. And then his new love with his newfound love for like motorcycle racing and the sports team that he had and everything. So you got the black and yellow here. That's also why you got the Thunder 4s and the Lightning 4s. And that's where like these black and yellow colorways originally come from. That being said, I do actually still have my pair of the 2007 New Loves. Let's go ahead and take a look at those real quick. Yeah. These have seen better days. So like I said, this pair is from 2007, so this shoe is 18 years old. Now I haven't had these since 2007, but it's been quite some time. And you know, I don't beat up very many sneakers, and truth be told, I got these secondhand off eBay probably well over 10 years ago at this point. But yeah, they've been through it all, and they weren't quite this beat before, but you know, eventually as certain shoes get beat to a certain point, right? Because I normally have at least one or two pairs of like kick around shoes, right? Whether that's Vans, Converse, or just an old pair of J's, right? Y'all have seen my old True Blue 3s from 2011, my old 2008 Countdown Pack Carmines. Eventually certain shoes, they just like fall completely apart, or you just toss them out, whatever, you replace it with something else, and that just becomes a new beater. But at some point, these New Lows became a new beater for me. And as you can see, if I hold these up to the camera, they almost so nasty I damn near don't want to show them, but all types of scuffing, fading, midsole filthy, giant scuff on the Wings logo, and plus it's all foggy, cracking and chipping all throughout the suede and the nubuck on this one, fading, creasing, laces all dingy. Yeah, this is about as beat up a pair as I've ever seen, truth be told. But these are just like kick around shoes, usually to take out the garbage, go run outside for whatever reason, go check the mail, something like that. I wore them to the gym a few times. I've worn them in the rain. It's everything. They've been through it all, man. And honestly, I had been meaning to go and pick up the 2017 pair for a couple of years now, but again, just wasn't a high priority, so it's not something I ever got around to doing. Little did I know, they were on their way back. And this is just one of them shoes that like, they've brought it back, right? They brought it back in 2017, a little bit as a surprise to me, because again, just wasn't like a super hype pair that I think that many people cared about. But they did. And those don't resell for much. Again, not super sought after, not hard to find, not very expensive, but they randomly brought them back. And hey, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. As I'm looking at the shoe, I'm admiring it. Obviously the quality on these isn't anything super crazy or anything to write home about. It's a Jordan 1 mid, so I didn't really expect that. It is a decent Durabuck on here. This almost feels like the same Durabuck they actually use on the reimagined metallic 5s, if I'm being honest. It is pretty nice, but the leather itself isn't very impressive to me, but it doesn't have to be. The shoe itself is super clean, and it's actually pretty thickly padded both on the ankle and the tongue, and you see the insole which by the way comes with a black insole that looks like it has, is that a white Jumpman or a yellow Jumpman? It has a yellow Jumpman in there. I don't know if I'll be able to get the camera to, yeah, you can see that. Yellow Jumpman there on the insole. Size 11 as we already established. But yeah, I'm noticing several differences between this shoe and the 2007 pair. I never owned the 2017, so I don't know how those stack up or compare in terms of material, quality, shape, and even just like some of these details, but we can talk about them. So let me just grab this dirty ass shoe and go ahead and compare these side by side. So first thing I'm noticing off rip is that on the back, on the original 2007 pair, you have a black Jumpman back there, whereas here on the 2025 pair, it's just blank, which, you know, I ain't really tripping about. I don't really think it's a huge deal, but it is a difference that I noticed. Also the tongues. The tongue on the 2007 pair is actually the same nubuck material that you find throughout the shoe, whereas on this pair, it's a, what is this, neoprene, nylon combination of that, and it's way thicker as well. So you can see that like on my old pair, the tongue is actually like cracking and chipping and falling apart. Yeah, you see it. Whereas on this new pair, it is a completely different material entirely. One thing I will say though, the color is like an exact match. I feel like typically when we see retros of sneakers, right, they come back, there's all these different differences, like the shape is different, the materials are different, and the color is never quite the same either, but to my eye, this is like nearly identical. I don't know if it shows up as identical on camera, but it's pretty spot on. Now you could argue that maybe this pair is a little bit darker because these are so beat up and old and dirty that maybe it wasn't as dark before. But as far as I can really see, man, it looks like they did a pretty good job replicating that exact color. And I'd like to say that the outsoles were the same color. This pair is obviously very aged and dirty, but it probably looked a lot more like this when they were new. And these are mids, but height wise, I would say, to me, they look like they're about the same exact height. If I could just go ahead and let's just set these on the box, get a look at that. Yeah, I'd say they're pretty much the exact same height. Wow, this is a pretty impressive retro. Not impressive in the sense like, oh, it's just so well done. It's like, obviously there are a few like subtle differences, but everything that I know and love about the sneaker when it comes to the color blocking, the actual color itself, the height and everything, they did a pretty good job replicating it. And like I said as well, this is a shoe that no one cares about but me. So I got them super cheap. I paid $60, brand new in the box, 60 bucks. I just, like I said, so something that I do a lot, I'm a low baller, okay? When I see stuff that I like that isn't worth a whole lot, I'm gonna offer you something that's borderline disrespectful. This shoe is $135 retail. I'm sure you can find them somewhere for a sale price of like 100 bucks. I seen them. I threw somebody an offer of $60, you know what I'm saying? Just a crapshoot, basically just a shot in the dark. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? And they took it. And I do that a lot. I throw out a lot of offers that just be BS. Like, that's getting rejected. Bro, when I tell you that offer got accepted immediately, it got accepted immediately. Did not expect that to happen. I really wasn't even trying to buy them for real. That's why I threw that low ass, what I thought was a low ass offer, and it got accepted. Well, here I am. Definitely didn't need these, but in my heart, I needed these. So we got them. And I'm actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm noticing another difference. If you look at the tongue, again, the tongue tag, the Jumpman Air is actually written in white on the original pair, but it's written in yellow on the new pair. So if I can get the camera to focus here again, you can see that the tongues actually are slightly different. Now that I have them on, it made it look, the height difference look crazy. The tongue is way taller though, I'll say that. The tongue feels like it's a lot taller on the new pair than the old pair. Even if it's also just like way puffier, but even if I like try to tuck it into the shoe, it feels like it raises up a decent bit higher than the old pair, which kind of makes it look like the shoe itself is a lot taller. But as you can see, they really are like the exact same height. If I could get there you go. Yeah, you know, I got a story for everything. And funny story about these, it's not this exact pair. It was a 2007 pair, but not this specific 2007 pair. It was one of the first Jordan ones I think I had in my collection, because I've always loved Jordan 1s, but I didn't really have that many pairs until I was older. You know, it was always a shoe that I went after. But I remember I got my first pair at a sneaker con. How long ago? I don't even know what year this was, but I went to, I think it might have been the first sneaker con I went to. I got my first pair and I bought them for, I want to say like $100. Is that right? No, wait. I don't know if that's true. This is over 10 years ago now, so I can't remember. No, I think it's the opposite. I think I got my pair off of a person in a local sneaker group on Facebook. I think I bought my first pair from somebody on Facebook for like $60 or $80, and they were in pretty good shape. I loved them, but I was younger and I was trying to flip in order to, make money to get stuff that I wanted even more. And I think what happened was I got these for like 60 to 80 bucks, which is funny. All these years later, I'm getting a brand new pair for $60 all over again. And I think I sold them at SneakerCon for $100, I want to say. And then I used that money to go get a pair of Bred ones. So it was the 2009 DMP Breds, which came out with a pair. Matter of fact, let's just go grab those too. Boom, right here, right? So these aren't the actual, this isn't the actual DMP pack. This is the 2013 Bred Retro 1 OG High. And then this is the Lucky Greens that released, I don't even know how long ago. I still haven't worn these. These are still brand new. My Breds have been worn a lot. These released in 2023, I want to say, because the production dates end on November 2022. So these must have dropped in 2023, but in 2009, they released a different Jordan 1 pack that was called the Defining Moments pack. It featured a Jordan 1 Bred High and a what we call the Celtics that looked a lot like this. I'd say the biggest difference between this and those was that one, obviously it didn't have the Nike Air on the tongue, and they both had a black Jumpman on the back. The green was a little bit darker. I feel like this is a little bit brighter than those, but it was pretty close. This was essentially what it was. So it was a pack that included these two shoes. And I'm pretty sure the Bred 1 has always been my favorite Jordan 1. It's always been one of my favorite sneakers of all time, and has been for most of my life my favorite sneaker of all time. And I wanted a pair really bad. And I found somebody at SneakerCon who had a stupid clean pair with OG box and everything of the DMP Bred. So I sold my new loves for like $100 to somebody at SneakerCon, and then for $130 I was able to buy my first pair of Bred ones, and I was over the moon. I was so excited and I was so hype about that. So as much as I loved this shoe at the time, I mean, they don't compare to a pair of Breds for me, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate to that. I think most people would rather have a pair of Breds than a pair of New Loves, so I missed them dearly, to the point where I ended up getting another pair eventually, right? And then I ended up with them both. But yeah, and then the 2017 retro came out. My 07 pair was getting pretty beat up at that point, but it wasn't a high priority, and here we are in 2025 with a new release of the sneaker in pretty good form. Like I said, the quality of the leather is nothing crazy, but I mean, to be fair, the quality of the 2007 retro was just as bad, if not worse, if I'm being honest. I know people tend to have this idea or this belief that anything that's like an older retro, the quality was just so much better, which is funny, by the way, because speaking of, I remember now when these came out in 2013. So I had those DMP Breds for, actually, no, didn't. I got sneaker stories for days. So those Bred ones that I had, I loved them with all my heart. I'm at the crib and my younger sister like leaves her belt in the hallway or something like that, and I think I might have stepped on it or something, and I got annoyed, and so I pick it up and I threw it from the hallway into her room, like onto her bed. And little did I know that her tablet, I don't even remember what like type of tablet, I don't know if it was an iPad, I don't think it was an iPad, but some sort of like maybe an Android tablet or something like that she had recently gotten like the year before for Christmas, was on her bed, and I shattered the screen. So I destroyed it. That's what I get, I guess. And at the time I'm young, right? And so my mother's like, well, you're gonna have to pay for it. And do I even want to tell this story? I don't even want to get into like everything that transpired that day, but basically, long story short, what ended up happening is that I had to sell some sneakers in order to I'm actually getting upset thinking back on the story. It low-key still gets me tight to this day. It's whatever now, like it was so long ago, but I had my Breds as well as a bunch of other sneakers because I was flipping and collecting everything at the time. And I shattered my sister's tablet screen with the belt that she left in the hallway. Whatever, cool. So my mother's like, well, you're gonna have to pay for that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's coming out of your pocket. And I'm like, all right. And basically what ended up happening is I had to sell my Bred Jordan 1s and my Bordeaux Jordan 7s, which were my two favorite sneakers at the time, in order to get the money to pay for it, because she basically was like, gave me like an ultimatum, like a deadline or whatever, saying you have this long to get this money. You can find all the money you need to buy these shoes. You're gonna find the money to replace this tablet. And I sold them for a price that was way too good for who I sold them to. And then I got like so distraught, and I don't want to say depressed because that might be a little bit dramatic, but for lack of a better word, I got so depressed about it, I sold like almost my entire collection after that, just like out of like spite or anger or frustration or whatever. And you know, eventually I start collecting all over again and everything like that. But yeah, man, so I feel like I'm rambling and talking to circles, whatever, but at the end of the day, I got everything back, you know what I'm saying? I got Breds, I got New Loves, I even got the Celtics, I got Bordeaux. I got multiple, everything I ever sold for the most part, I got it back. So, you know, it is what it is. The past is the past, and it's my fault, I guess, for throwing it in the first place and breaking that screen. But yeah, that had your boy pretty upset. The reason I told that story though was because I ended up getting another pair of breads. I remember, I'm circling back around now. I had the DMPs, but I had to sell that pair eventually. But I got another pair later down the line, and this was maybe, I don't know how much later it was, but it was before these came out. But when these came out in 2013, I still had the newer pair of DMPs that I had, and I sold them at a sneaker show the same day that these dropped. I tried to get these on release, and I missed out. You know what I'm saying? I struck out everywhere. These were really sought after at the time. You know, 2013 Jordan 1. 2013 was the year Jordan 1 started coming back in this retro high OG with Nike Air and everything like that. And it was better than all the Jordan 1s that we were getting beforehand, and we're bringing back all the classic colorways. So the breads were reselling, but they weren't reselling for anything crazy. But back then, they only retailed for $160. They were reselling for like $230 to $260-ish. You know what I mean? Which was a pretty big deal back then. Nowadays, retail is damn near $260. Well, retail is like $240, $250, $260 after tax for a lot of shoes these days after tax and shipping. So anyway, I'm sorry, I keep going on these tangents. I sold my DMP breads to somebody at a sneaker show the same day that these came out, and bought these off of a homie that an actual personal friend of mine, for $230. And I remember I thought that these were way better than the DMP pair. Remember, I'm on my second pair, and I've been collecting shoes for a minute, so like I know, you know what I'm saying? And I remember walking around with these happy gung ho, and I ended up running to somebody else who we were acquainted, but we weren't friends with her, and we get to talking about it, whatever. And he's like trying to like say, it's like, oh, you know, but my pair's better quality or whatever, something like that, right? Because people even then into this day had this mindset that the older release is going to be better quality, especially because during that era, 2012, 2013, a lot of shoes that were dropping were pretty bad quality. Again, I talk about like the white infrareds, the black infrareds in 2014, the 2012 white cements, like a lot of those, they were not very good. 2011 Orion 7s, a lot of retros back then, they did not care about the quality or the quality control. You know what I'm saying? The craftsmanship and the materials were not good. That being said, these were a step above that. They're not insanely crazy, but they were better to me than the DMPs, which I wasn't a big fan of the leather on those. And also it had the Nike Air, which I cared a lot about. And basically somebody was like trying to stunt on me that he had the 09 pair and all I had was the 2013 pair. I'm like, nigga, I just sold my 09 pair to get these. I think these are better. And I still stand on that personally. But the 2016 pair is even better than these, and I never got my hands on those. My grail, my all-time grail is actually the 2011 band bread ones, which I've never gotten, but one day. So yeah, I did a whole lot of rambling and a lot of tangents, but point is, the new loves are back. I'm happy to have them back in the collection, and this is a shoe that's probably gonna get a decent amount of wear out of me for the foreseeable future, because I missed having. Can I get the camera to focus on the shoe and not my face? I know I look good, but come on now. I'm happy to add these back to the collection, man, because I was long overdue for a fresh pair. So yeah, what am I gonna do with them, with the old new loves now? I don't know. I guess I could still rock them as beaters or whatever, but it might be time to officially retire those and just throw them out, give them away or something like that. So yeah, that's my story. These are the new loves. Let me know what y'all think about them. Again, I know people don't really rock with mids like that. This is the only pair of mids in my entire collection. These ones just mean something special to me personally. It was one of the first Jordan 1s I ever had. It's how I acquired my first ever pair of bread ones. And I just always liked the colorway. I just thought that these look better than most mids do. And yeah, I'm just happy to have them back. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content that I bring you. And with all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. Remember, that's the cap until you swing the bat. Later.